Yeah, it is there now. Yeah. So,
my success is my handwriting. My success is my handwriting.
so Shahjan sir, is 5 o'clock. Shall we start now? Oh, yes, sir. So let us start with a small prayer. Then we will go to the session directly. A small video about CEIR.
Center for Educational Initiatives and Research, CEIR Global Trust, was started in 2009 with a vision to facilitate the evolution of positive and progressive schools through a passionate community of practice and emerge as the most trusted organization for educators across India and Indian schools globally. Its mission is to improve the overall K-12 school culture and performance by empowering all stakeholders using latest research and practices in education. CEIR has conducted many extraordinary programs for the target groups right from K1 to K12. The ultimate aim of CEIR is to create a CEIR Center of Excellence by 2030. A perfect home away from home to hold its members.
My success is my handwriting. My success is my handwriting.
All the activities of CEIR is supported by Veda Handwriting Lab. Veda offers multiple programs backed by scientific research for students and teachers. At Veda Handwriting Lab, we say good or bad handwriting is an existing myth. There is only trained or untrained handwriting. To make it possible, Veda Handwriting Lab has developed a training device called Manicule Memory Board for faster and long-lasting results among students and teachers. We have specific programs for teachers, students, and the schools.
My success is my handwriting. My success is my handwriting.
So I think Lakshmi ma'am is there. Lakshmi ma'am, she was there in the beginning. Yeah, yeah, perfect, perfect. Ma'am, you have to unmute.
Yeah, she's there. She's there.
Yeah, she is there, ma'am. Yeah. Please make Lakshmi ma'am. Ma'am, you have to unmute from your end. Okay.
Yeah, sir.
Give me 1 minute time, ma'am. I have a few small announcements. As you all know that, CEIR is coming out with principal conclave, that face-to-face principals meetings from this month onwards. We are planning around 25 conclaves in 25 cities. So I'm so proud and happy to announce the first is happening in Kerala, Thiruvananthapuram, on 25th of June. So this is an on-day program exclusively designed for principals to face the challenges of day-to-day, like administration and academic skills. And we have 8 teams, highly qualified educators, experienced educators have came together and they formed 8 teams. And just because of that, we are, seriously thinking of keeping our Saturday webinars one in a month, most probably on, like every second Saturday. So you can understand we have covered more than three, what is it, 45 or something. So that, so we will limit this webinars or any emergency, this thing, we will definitely hold the webinar. So it's easily accessible. So that is the announcement. And the announcement is 15th is the last date for applying for the Mark of Excellence Award for the principals. So please keep this. I think you must have received the information. This is again for principals with minimum 5 years of experience. Now coming to our, this is a very thought-provoking, experience. I mean, we have to literally contemplate, because in our time, like this rote learning was supposed to be, one of the, key skill area, what you say, the most important aspect. Now, the time has revealed, this rote learning is nothing to do with the education. The education is more on to understanding the concept of every principles. So we have an excellent person. She is a scientific officer in Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research. And she is, I may say, she is a, scientist turned to teacher now. Luckily, because of our, joint secretary, our dearest Deepa ma'am referred to her. So we thought this is an important topic for our educators. What actually differentiate the so-called, rote learning? How, because most of the time, we have seen the class first, those who get more marks. In the classroom, they used to sit in the front, but in their career or in their life, they are actually sitting in the back. So luckily, ma'am is here to guide us more about, what is the basic difference of rote learning and why conceptual learning is important for our generation or our time now. I happily invite dear Rashmi ma'am to start her program. Ma'am, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm also very happy, and I take this opportunity to thank CEIR and also special thanks to Deepa ma'am, who gave me this wonderful platform to share my experience. I have also experienced rote learning and conceptual learning, and I feel I will take this opportunity to share my own experience first, how from rote learning I went to conceptual learning. So before going to my presentation, I thought I'll have some time spent for sharing my experience. I am Rashmi. I worked as a scientific officer in Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Kalpakkam, and I was born and brought up in Kalpakkam. So I studied in Kendriya Vidyalaya, Kalpakkam, and more of that rote learning means memorizing things. I also practiced during my school days, thinking that that will help me in getting more marks. So I did it. And as you know, it's a Kendriya Vidyalaya, CBSE syllabus, and surely in board exams, you will have some problems, 1 or 2 problems that will be out of book. So during that period, I used to skip the problems and I will write down only the answers that is given in the textbook. So I graduated, slowly I completed my schooling with that, and I never scored above 90, and I was a average student. And after that, I went for my graduation. There also, some way I will see whether I can memorize and write. So, but it was not that helpful for me because some concepts need to be learned and solving problems. After that, entered into the Department of Atomic Energy, Kalpakkam, where the day when I entered the lab, I was greeted by so many scientists wearing lab coats and always discussing science. And wherever I see, only scientific discussions are there. I could not see people chit-chatting and big instruments. Finally, I was I joined with Dr. Gnanashekaran, T. Gnanashekaran. He took me to a lab known as sodium lab. There I entered. Then I was again taken to one more sir, Dr. Rajan Babu. To whom I was introduced, and I told you will be working under him. To my surprise, I am seeing all old people, and that time I was in my 20s and maximum of them in their 50s. And when I wanted to talk to them, they are only talking science. And there I could see so many instruments, that too big instruments, and I could see a box and where I some glosses are projecting out. So Rajan Babu sir called and asked me, you know, what is the thing inside the glow box which is shining? Immediate answer was water. Then he laughed. He told, water, it is sodium. Then I was thinking, sodium. Sir, I have seen sodium in my lab where it is kept in kerosene. Then he immediately asked, why it is kept in kerosene? Then I told, sir, it will catch fire if it is kept outside. Then, okay, can you tell the reaction what is happening inside sodium and water reaction? Then I told sodium hydroxide and hydrogen is liberated. Only that much? No, it gives so much of heat also. That is, it's an exothermic reaction. So because of that, it catches fire. Then again, he showed me the glow box and he's asking, you are having sodium inside this. Then what is the atmosphere present inside this glow box? Then I thinking of air. Then he started me to think about, in periodic table, you will have inert gases. What are the inert gases that are present that you know? Then I started with helium, neon, argon, krypton, all these things. Then he was asking, what is a gas inside this? This is helium, I told. He told helium can be used, but slowly, because of its lightweight, it can come out of this glows. So we are using argon. So many questions he was asking. And finally, I was afraid to talk to him because the subject, whatever I learned from school and colleges, it is not that I am saying. It is the application of whatever we have read in your textbooks is what the work or experiments that the scientists are doing. So here, he immediately told me that we are going to work on online electrochemical sensors for sodium. So as I told, I worked in Kalpakam, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research. We have fast breeder reactors. So there, for fast breeder reactors, we require sodium as the coolant, or we are using sodium as the coolant. So handling sodium is a big problem, and you need to know how it should be handled first. Then he was keeping on asking questions, and I used to feel irritated that why he is asking daily so many questions. And when he used to ask, immediately the next day, sometimes I used to put leave, thinking that I can escape from him. But the third day, he will again catch hold of me and ask the same question. And there is no way to escape. So I have to stand there. Then he used to tell me, you remove all your egos. If you first remove your ego, learn your fundas, you can prove something here. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to sustain in this lab. Then then our work was to develop an electrochemical carbon meter for monitoring the carbon impurity in sodium. So that's how he first asked me, what is a galvanic cell? Then I told him that galvanic cell is a cell which produces electrical energy out of the spontaneous chemical reaction happening in the cell. He told, good. So what should be our reference electrode and what should be our working electrode that we are going to design? Then I told, working electrode should be something like whose carbon activity you are going to measure. That working electrode is nothing but the carbon in sodium. So what should be the reference electrode? So he was keep on questioning me because he wants me to go to my funda and read and understand what work I am going to do. So again, he asked me, what is the reference electrode that you are going to use? So in my textbooks and in my college days, I have seen the electrochemical series and standard electrode potential, everything is running around my mind. But he was telling me it's carbon. You want to have a reference electrode for carbon. So find out what kind of a reference electrode you can make. No answer from me. So again, he gave a hint telling that, you know what are the electrodes of carbon? Then immediately I told graphite and diamond. Can diamond be used as a reference electrode? My first answer was, sir, it's very costly, so you cannot use it. He started laughing. He's telling, you are interested in knowing what cost that electrode is, but you are not thinking whether diamond is a good conductor of electricity. Then he told me, again, you go back and learn what is the structure of graphite and what is the structure of diamond. So I went again, started seeing what is the structure of graphite and what is the structure of diamond and what way graphite is conducting and why diamond is not conducting. And then I came to know that valence electron is present in graphite, whereas it's not present in diamond. That is how diamond is a bad conductor of electricity and graphite is a good conductor of electricity. So we started our work, and every day he used to tell, you yourself should ask what, when, how, then you have to find out the answer yourself. So that science, whatever you read in textbook, it's the same science that you're doing in your experiments. So think twice, thrice. If you're not knowing, remove your ego, ask your colleagues, get answer from them. Like that, my work, slowly I started my career in department. Then one day, he is also a person who always tells we can do simulation experiments, simulating the experiments. So how to simulate experiments? Like when we are using sodium, when you want to work with sodium, the work will be only have to carry out inside the glove box. So always you have to take the materials inside the glove box where you have a port which has to be evacuated, that is air have to be removed, then you keep the material inside the port, then you do the experiments inside the box. So he told, can we use water? So I told water and sodium. He told, think about the properties. Sodium and water are having almost viscosity same and also density same. So density of sodium is 0.98 gram per cc and for water is 1. So we had conducted some of the experiments that are very difficult inside the glow box. We have simulated it by doing it outside the glow box with water. And after getting experience with that, we went on in doing experiments inside the glow box. So this time, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Rajan Babu, Dr. Jayaraman, Dr. Rajesh Ganeshan, who are my mentors. And because of them, I am now presenting, I am giving a presentation in front of you. And from rote learning, slowly, I learned the concepts. And that is how that promoted me to a different world of science. Now, I move on to my presentation. Rote learning versus conceptual learning, the whats and whys. I have given two pictorial representation of rote learning and conceptual learning. A teacher's brain is copied and pasted inside a student's brain. That is, whatever the teacher says, the student memorize it and store it in his brain and write it in his notebook, or for exams point of view, they write. But conceptual learning is not like that. They have to think, they have to apply whatever concepts they have, what fundamentals, all have to be applied during the problem solving, problems of either for problems or for real experiments. So rote learning, practice of memorizing things, and it's a repetition, memorizing thing with repetition. And during earlier days, it was a common method of learning. Whereas mindless, what does it does? Mindless memorization will not give you any creativity or social skills or critical thinking. So where is rote learning used? Rote learning is mainly used for training and education, where it is useful for remembering information. Where the users are for spelling words. When we want to, for dictation or something, you want to spell the word, you memorize it and then tell. Multiplication tables. Multiplication tables are memorized. And memorizing state capitals. Language lessons like Hindi and other languages where you want to know the grammar or memorizing words for writing, you use rote learning. And music. For learning music also, rote learning is used. What is the drawback of that? You don't make creative or logical thinking, don't have make sense as an exclusive method of education, only play a role as an efficient means to only remember things. I would like to tell a quote by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. The purpose of education is to make good human beings with skill and expertise. Enlightened human beings can be created by teachers. So, what is science? How is it different from other fields of studies? Science is the gain of knowledge by using observations and experiments to describe and experience the world around us. So, for this, as I told, I had come from a scientific field. Immediately, I had gone and referred some of the journals which to support what I'm telling. So it is enhancing students in chemistry field. I have searched I have looked into a journal, and it is Southeastern Journal of Research and Sustainable Development, SCJRSD, Volume 4, Issue 2, July 2021. The factors to be implemented to improve and enhance students' chemistry skills. So the first thing is understand the concepts to solve the problems. Fundamental properties of matter. Students have to know what are the fundamental properties of matter. Mole concept. Particular nature of matter for these concepts are critical for chemistry calculations. If the student don't understand concept properly, it leads to misconception or alternate conception of the concepts, or its poor knowledge of matter. Finally, they end up in memorization of concepts and they cannot use them in concept problem solving. For solving the problems, that is not the problems that you write, for experiments or some other thing, you have to first identify the issue, coming up with solutions, implementing the solution, evaluating their effectiveness. So, what is the outcome? Students develop to solve problems in chemistry and science generally. Developing problem-solving skills in students is at the heart of the chemistry teachers and chemistry research. By doing this, what are students doing? They are gaining confidence on their own. They are able to attend the problems and any kind of problems that they are able to attend in the future also. So let me explain to you. In school level, we are reading what are the different ways a temperature can be measured. Temperature and its units. Degree Celsius, Fahrenheit, Kelvin. The SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. Are we teaching the students how a thermometer really works with zeroth law of thermodynamics? No, I find very few schools may be telling, but to me, no one had told that thermometer is working by the zeroth law of thermodynamics. That is, when A is in equilibrium with B and B is in equilibrium with C, C is in turn in equilibrium with A. That is how our body and the body of the thermometer and mercury, how finally mercury is in equilibrium with our body, and that's how your temperature is being sensed, and it is in Fahrenheit. Many of the children are telling again in degree Celsius, but the SI unit should be always mentioned in Kelvin only. Now, let me come to a problem. Like some test papers used to have problems like this. Like mass they are giving, acceleration they are giving, force they are telling that F is equal to m into A, and what is force. So when students saw such type of problems, they will think, what am I supposed to use? Equation is also given, and I have to just multiply 10 into 2 and write 20 as the answer. But you should not do like this. We have to encourage children in finding out the answer by applying the concept, what they have learned. So let me give you an example of finding out pressure in two different ways. What is pressure? Pressure is the force applied by one object on another. Force applied on the object is perpendicular to the surface of the object per unit area and is represented by pressure P. The formula is Force per unit area is P is equal to F by A, where force applied by the body is given by Newton. The unit is Newton, and A, total area of the object by meter square. So this is one way you can express pressure, but the pressure can be also expressed by different formula. Hydrostatic pressure formula is given by P is equal to hg rho, where the height is h, density is rho, and g is gravity. Let me tell you, when some problem comes, children should know where to apply hydrostatic pressure formula, and children need to know where pressure formula of P is F by A need to be applied. So the first problem was a girl wearing 60 kg, wearing high heel shoe, and she is standing, stabilizes herself on a single heel. The heel is drawn with a diameter of 1.5 centimeter. Calculate the pressure applied by the heel on the horizontal floor. The formula is force per unit area, P is equal to F by A. Whereas another problem is there, where a tank is filled with water and you are giving the height and you want to know what is the pressure exerted on the bottom of the tank. So that the formula is P is equal to hg rho. So again, coming to laws like gas laws, Boyle's law, Charles Rose's law, and we are having ideal gas. So we have to teach children in such a way that where is this laws applied in daily our life? Like if you see a syringe, we are having Boyle's law applied in this. How to explain? Like when your a syringe is having a plunger, when you slowly slowly remove the plunger or bring it back, you will see that the volume expands, whereas the pressure decreases. Volume is increasing, pressure is decreasing. So what is happening? You are able to suck the medicine through that medicine or whatever you fluids you are able to suck. So what is Boyle's law telling? Pressure is directly proportional to 1 by V, or it's inversely directly, no, not directly. Pressure is inversely proportional to 1 by V, or PV is a constant. So you can show this simple experiments or simple things by which you can explain the big laws. Like again, I'm coming to one more experiment. Like when you are, again, the opposite is also happening. When you are increasing the pressure, volume reduces. So when you increase the pressure, you are able to see that the liquid, whatever was there inside the syringe, is coming out. So pressure increases, volume decreases. In earlier one, volume increased, pressure decreased. So this is how you can explain to children how a science or a Boyle's law is applied in our daily use. And one more example you can tell, like a balloon. When you're blowing a balloon and then when you squeeze it in one part, the balloon, the other part will be expanding. So what does it mean? When the pressure increases, the squeezed part will reduce and the other part is increased. So the pressure increases, volume decreases. This is how you can explain to children about the science behind each law. Now, coming to what is the purity of gold or something. How is gold you children will be fascinated when seeing the advertisements, like it's written 916 hallmark gold. What is 916 hallmark gold? In 9th standard CBSE textbook, you have got something called alloys. So children are knowing what is alloy. So here, pure gold, you can explain that it's 24 karat gold. It's very soft. Why it is very soft? Because it is 100% pure gold. And you're making jewelry, you cannot use 24% gold because it is very soft. So you need to add some more material to that, like copper need to be added, so that you can make ornaments out of that. So that is 22 karat gold. So if 24 karat gold is 100% pure, then 22 karat gold is 24 by 22 into 100, that is 91.6% pure. That 91.6% purity is mentioned as 916. So how many of us teach children in this way? Like they need to know, they are not, business people will be telling things in their own way, like 916, but chemists will talk in these terms of percentage. The rest, 8.4%, will be other metals. Coming to stainless steel. Like stainless steel, we use in our daily home stainless steel. It's an alloy. What is stainless steel made of? It's made of chromium, nickel, cobalt, molybdenum, and carbon and many impurities. But it is an alloy. As I told, it's an alloy. You can always tell iron, if you take, it is getting corroded. But why is the stainless steel not getting corroded? As the name tells, it is stainless steel. And an iron, why it is corroding is the oxidation reaction is taking place with the air and it's forming iron oxide. But whereas stainless steel, you are having already chromium in that. The chromium forms chromium oxide and gives a protective layer over this iron. That is how the chromium layer further stops the oxidation, and that is why it is stainless steel. You can explain science in this way. Coming to a dimensional analysis. The children can be, from their school level, can be taught dimensional analysis. What is dimensional analysis? For example, I have given a Nernst equation where E is equal to E naught minus RT by NF ln Q. Here, the left-hand side unit, E, is nothing but EMF. It is given as a unit volt. E naught is a standard electrode potential, and R is called the gas constant. It is given the value 8.314 joules per Kelvin per mole, and T is in Kelvin, and N is the number of electrons taking part in a cell reaction, and F is 96,500 coulombs. And L and Q, the Q is the oxidized state concentration by the reduced state. So finally, we will have volt in left-hand side and joules per Kelvin per mole into Kelvin divided by coulombs per mole given in the right-hand side. So finally, you will end up by cancelling all the Kelvin and mole. You end up with volt is equal to joules per coulombs. Then you're surprised to see volt is there, but it is not equal to joules per coulomb. But yes, it is equal. How? Volt into coulomb is joules. So joules is equal to joules. So left-hand side is equal to right-hand side. So this is how you can practice children in knowing various units. Units for pressure, units for volume, units for temperature. And this is how you can children can have interest in solving problems. Finally, I would end by telling that Albert Einstein has told, education is not learning of facts, but it's a training of the mind to think. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hey, thank you, sir.
This is, I am so happy Dr. A.P. Jayaraman is there. I think he couldn't join. Jayaraman, sir, he was actually mentioning about your contribution towards
Yes,
Jayaraman, sir, can you hear?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am thrilled to listen to this talk. And I was just wondering if Dr. Homi Baba were alive today, he would have clapped in full glory of this.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
A gripping exposition. Science at its 99.999 pure gold standard which you refer. Absolutely thrilled. Absolutely thrilled.
I have to thank all my mentors for this, sir. From Rote learning, I had come to conceptual learning now. So I have to thank all my mentors who have supported me in the department, and I take this opportunity to thank each and everyone for also giving this opportunity to give my own experience and that I could share in this. And I'm again thanking Deepa ma'am for giving me the opportunity to give this wonderful platform I could present whatever I had my experience. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, I think Jayaraman, sir, we should now plan for a debate on the same question, because I was actually in my generation was victimized by this rote learning. After that, what was happening actually, like when we were going for higher education, we could understand what exactly the right learning and what exactly is the wrong learning. Then, like the practical, the conceptual learning, the application-oriented learning. So can you please elaborate something from your experience? Because most of our participants want to know, what exactly, how we differentiate it, because most of the boards or, like the exam bodies, they focus more on to the mark side or the grade side. But the poor children who come out, if they have seen, if you go, if they exposed to the the real-time situation, that is something startling. Can you please elaborate, Jayaraman sir, from a humble request?
Is it to me now? Yes. But
Yeah.
Rashmi has already explained, she started with a series of questions, one after the other, in quick succession. That is the questioning attitude of science. What is water? What is sodium? What is their reaction? All that we have learned in the textbooks. And some of us have learned it by rote. But we have a training school in Bark. Rashmi must be aware of that. Am I right?
Yeah, sure. I know.
Yeah. So when I joined that training school in the 8th batch, the first question asked to me by Dr. Baba is, how many atoms are there in a drop of water? And just to dip his finger and a drop of water came out. I couldn't use my rote memory for explaining that. You need a lot of calculation in his presence. So generally, rote learning only helps you to remember a few facts. But Google has come and you don't need to torture your memory any further. Today, information of facts or information is not a valuable commodity. Your ability to process information, that is where knowledge comes. Earlier, we used to mug up the periodic table of multiplication table. Rashmi mentioned. Do you think it is necessary to learn the multiplication table today? We have the calculators, we have advanced calculators, which we take to the classroom. So rote memory doesn't help anymore, particularly in creative works like science, engineering. On the spot, you are given all the facts you want. You can get it. How do you process the facts? And how do you create a fact, hypothesize, validate, or falsify? That is the basic scientific learning. And Rashmi was explaining to the dimensionality of the equation.
Yes.
Most of us, by rote learning, you can never learn dimensionality. Left side is equal to right side. That comes beautifully when the numbers are put. So learning today has become an absolutely brand new, brave new learning. It is not the old one. Textbooks are no longer necessary. And the duty of the teacher is to navigate the student through the facts, to teach how to do processing of information, not providing of information. I think that is the golden rule Rashmi has given to us now, and it is amazing in all its aspects, in its simplicity, in its clarity, and it's a powerful impetus which she has created. I congratulate you, Rashmi, once more for this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Happy to hear from you, sir. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, sir.
This
and I feel proud, sir, today that I am able to give a talk in front of you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Srisan sir, for giving me the opportunity, and Deepa madam, again I am thanking you.
This is our obligation towards the society. I was about to say something. I met a very senior advocate of Kerala High Court. Okay, it is known to me. In a casual discussion, he was saying, what we have learned 5 years in the college, what we are doing in reality is falls apart. See, this is something, actually we have to educate our children, of course, education is important, but how you learn things. And am I right, Jayaraman sir?
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I think you have to elaborate, sir, because I can only suggest my thinking, but somebody like you can only elaborate to the common people like us.
That's what science communication is. See, scientists may a lot, they may know a lot, but they should be able to communicate. The essence is communication, transfer of knowledge, and the transfer to create knowledge. And we are living in a knowledge economy. And we have a plethora of information. So we should draw the distinction between information and knowledge. And the school is a place where the transformation takes place between information and knowledge. Correct. That is why we have to see, that is what NEP 20 also asks us. Have a flexible syllabus. Why? You should be able to draw different conclusions given the same facts. That is the way science works. And we want the whole school to work as a laboratory. And every teacher should be a scientist. The English teacher, the physics teacher, the geography teacher, all of them will be doing things in a scientific way. And science is nothing but asking questions, asking intelligent questions, asking meaningful questions. As Rashmi demonstrated in the beginning, I think 10 questions are rolling out of her, one after the other. That is the spirit of science. Ask, ask, ask. And she has beautifully brought, Einstein is still remembering that education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. Yes, to think, problem solving. And in fact, what is a problem? That also most of us do not know. Anything that is a difficulty, that is a mess, is called a problem. No, a problem is a difference between what is and what should be. Exactly. Water and sodium are here, we know. What should be? How should we prevent them from reacting and making a catastrophic reaction? So the problem is difference between what is and what should be. And solution. I have one problem, I have one solution. I have one lock and one key. That doesn't work. If you have one problem, you should be able to produce 10 solutions for it. Or a scientific mind will produce as many solutions as is possible. 10 solutions. Now, for one problem, if you produce 10 solutions, it's not enough. Then each solution you have to take out and find out what are the natural and probable consequences that will flow if solution 1 is applied. Then we should do the same for solution 2. And then out of 10 solutions, we should murder our darlings. That is, 9 solutions should be killed and 1 solution should be accepted. It's a painful process. One problem, 10 solutions, your own creations, your own darlings, and each one you evaluate and you are murder 9 of them and elect 1. That is the process of creation of knowledge from information. And that is the basis of science. I'm very, very happy to get set on thinking on these things. Excellent, Rashmi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again, sir. I'm very happy, sir, that I could present in front of you.
Even for the participants' information, like the premier colleges or the elite colleges, or for an example, engineering. The day one, the day you get an information like after 5 years, this institution is not going to make you an engineering graduate. This institution is there to make you an engineer. Okay, this is this again is a big difference. Being an engineering graduate or being an engineer. I mean, Jaravan sir, again I will seek your help to differentiate these two terms, engineer and engineering graduate. Kindly help me, sir. I think you can easily explain this concept. It's about all profession again.
See, you can earn or get a degree from an institution by meeting their examination qualifications. And if you get a certain mark, you will come out. You are a graduate. You graduated. You have studied the syllabus. Whatever has been given 40% of marks at good, you are a graduate. But with that knowledge, if you go to apply in a field and produce an effect, there will be difficult. This is why we find the difference between engineering and technology. All engineers are not technologists. Technology is production of a product or a service that is useful to us. So there are many engineers who can calculate, cannot do anything. So knowing and doing are the two aspects. Engineers know, but when they do, they become a technologist. This equation, this complex equation of knowing and doing. Many people know many things, they don't do anything. And many people do many things without knowing. So this dichotomy, this inequilibrium between doing and knowing is the difference between a graduation and a practitioner. You may know everything, but you won't do it. So that doing mentality is what differentiates an engineer from a technologist. And what we want today is not an engineering society. What we need is engineering thinking, but a technology-dominated society. That's the difference between a technology comes out as a product or a service useful to us. But there is an engineering mindset required to produce that product. So all engineering graduates are not technologists. Some of them who can do and produce intended consequences, they have become technologists. That is why there is an Indian Institute of Technology, IIT, and you have engineering colleges on the other side.
Correct. No, it's all just an insight, please take it very seriously, like being a graduate and being a professional makes a lot of difference. Makes a lot of difference actually, the application, like the know-how, what is there inside you, not in the certificate. Does it make any sense? These certificates are there still, lying on the shelf. But actually, what is there registered inside you and the practical know-how you made through your conceptual, the knowledge and the application, this thing that makes you success. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, wonderful. This actually, we have conducted, more than 345, I believe today. This is more interesting. I request the participants, we have, what is the time now? We have time. Yeah, exactly. Two great brains are there. One is an excellent brain, mentor of the resource person. And, the other one is today's resource person. You have two great people here, participants that I have seen some students are also here. I think you must ask some questions, if anything is there, I think we'll make use of this as a question answer session. I mean, we'll spend some 10-15 minutes for that. If any question is there, please raise. We will be able to, help you out. I mean, is there any question there in the chat box? Nice explanation by Rashmi ma'am. Excellent. Any questions you want to clarify? Please ask the questions. Even we can give you this provision. Like you can raise your hand, the virtual hand. We will unmute you. There are no wrong questions. What is that? All questions are not wrong. Exactly. Tarang Chowdhury. Wonderful. Yeah, that is actually a thought provoking. We have to contemplate on that, sir. Yeah. Raudran Rishi. Please ask your question, sir. Yeah, please. Your audio is not audible, actually. There's something wrong with that. I mean, can you please check the audio part, the quality of the audio?
Sir? Sir, without mugging the multiply table, sir, how can I multiply, sir?
Yeah, that is about exactly mathematics. This thing, without knowing that multiplication table, how can you do max? That is the question from Raudran Rishi. Sir or ma'am, can you please answer? I have an answer. I'll send you.
I have already told that comes under rote learning.
Yeah.
I had already given an example of rote learning is mathematical table. Max table comes under, you have to memorize it. When I was there, I used to memorize. Now I don't know, sir. Now people are not using table for calculation. Now they are going for calculator. Yeah, so yeah. I gave it as an example for rote learning only.
Yeah. No, this is again, like now it is allowed. Actually, the calculators are allowed in the example. It is not that you should not use a calculator or you should not use there is a systematic way of understanding the multiplication. Okay, it's not that 1 into 1, 1 into 2, 2, not like that. There is a different way. I think you should ask your teachers. There is an easy way. Each. See, if you allow me, the panel members, I tell you, science, when if you ask anyone about science subject, they say biology, physics, and chemistry. Maths is never considered as a science subject. Now, my question is, without maths, what physics you are going to solve? So
even chemistry also.
Chemistry also.
So maths, chemistry also you cannot do.
You cannot
problems.
Do. Maths is also, maths should also consider as a science subject. Now, the second one is like, like maths never ask you a question. Maths will give you a problem. And you are the one to, find a solution. Now, the question here is, which, problem comes without a solution? So, all the time you see, the solution lies in the problem. The seeker or the student or whoever is the job is to find inside the problem where the solution lies. That is our job. Am I right? So that is how maths works. I hope you understand. No problem will arise without a solution. So every problem, the solution will be there. Our job is to find where the solution comes. So even if you by heart mug up the tables of the what do you call the multiplication
Sir,
tables.
can I interrupt? Can I interrupt, sir?
Please, ma'am, kindly.
Sir, Abacus, now new system has come, Abacus. Now they are teaching how to learn maths in a simpler way.
Yeah.
So I think most of the students now going for Abacus classes. So they need not memorize, they can go for that.
And even the Vedic maths also for the multiplication part, not the math. I'm telling you, if you have difficulties in learning the basic things, the Vedic maths can also support you. But you have to understand this entire this thing. See, even the conceptual learning. For an example, there's when you multiply 11 into 11, you get 121. So the problem is, what is 11 into 11? Now 11 into multiply by 11. So this 1 and 1 is here. You just add 1 and 1 and put that 2 here. 1, 2, 1 will be there. If you multiply 1, 3 into 11, so add 1 and 3 and that is 4, put that it's in between. So there are many ways, other than, memorizing, there are many ways to understand the multiplication table. Our aim of this, our objective of this entire session is to make you understand, this is how this application oriented, conceptual oriented, learning is important for today. As Jayaraman sir clearly said, everything, whatever you want, the knowledge you want. See, this small device is, contains everything. If you have an internet connection, anything is possible. All knowledge is possible. But how it is going to help us, how this make application, how this is going to help us matters a lot. Am I right, Jayaraman sir?
Yes. That's
knowledge is cheap now. Knowledge is available from all sources. Application matters. Am I right, sir?
Yes. Good interpretation.
Wonderful. Any other question is there in the chat box? Yeah, there are. Main points can only be done by rote learning. Is there any other option for this? Sir, main points can only be done by rote learning. Is there any other option for the same? Main points cannot be learned by rote learning. Am I right? The question is, main points can only be done by rote learning. Is the question correct, sir, or I am wrong? In the chat box, there is a question came like main points can only be done by rote learning. Is there any other options for the same? What is this main points? Can anyone help us? Yeah, another question. Dr. Prasanna, it's not a question, but her, opinion. I feel that children must pick up the capability of mugging up also during their childhood. They need to be able to memorize rhymes and mathematical tables. That mathematical tables we explained. Is abacus worth for maths? Abacus is actually not a mathematical this thing. It helps the smaller children for their brain development. Am I right? It is not going to help you or this thing. After sometimes you forget all that, this, they do like this, that and all they forget. These are like the numbers will come in front of them through that, what you call the roads, what you call that, so they have to do like this. Every time you cannot do everything, like this in the exam. See, this is the fundamental understanding. If I am not wrong, the fundamental point of, this abacus kind of things are for the child's brain development. So it is not purely as madam say that time you ask them multiplication, they will do something like this and ask, give you the answer. But main points means educational terms and definition steps to solve the max. What is this actually coming? I am not able to see. Please ask questions. This is something which main, I don't know what is that. Yeah, but Jayaraman sir, sir, can you please address this issue? You know, main points can only be done by rote learning. Is there any other option for the same? Can you give an answer, sir? Twice it came. Jayaraman sir, please help rescue me. I am not able to answer it.
I think we are still thinking in terms of examination point of view. For example, in CBSE, the first 20 elements of the periodic table are marked up. And we say hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen. It thinks that we know about it, but the periodic table from 100 to 118 elements are never marked up. When you want to know about a particular element, we go to a table and find. So remembering a table, there is an initial value which we will take. Will they, for an examination, will we ask 13 into 13 is equal to what? So that is not considered as knowledge. If you are testing knowledge, you are not getting the two numbers multiplied. And again, it is the concept of multiplication. That is putting a number so many times and getting another number. Now that is, for example, counting. The basic position is on counting. How you can count 1 to 100. Yes, there is a sequence for that. That is a convention which is being used by several societies. So there are some very fundamental things which we have learned as part of our initial knowledge. And it will facilitate, but it will not create new knowledge. Now, if I can narrate the multiplication table of 13 in 1 second or in 30 seconds, I cannot consider my knowledge based on my dexterity of recalling this information. So there was a time when memory was totally relied upon, but no new knowledge has been obtained by mugging up the periodic table or the multiplication table. It is not so. Whenever you want to know how many times an operation has to be done, there is a multiplier calculator available with you. And today, if you see the engineering college, the multiplication table allows you not only numerical, we have an obsession, a magnificent obsession with the arithmetic of it. Arithmetic is only a minor part of the totality of mathematics. In trigonometry, you don't know that. You get all the numbers, square, cos, 1 minus theta. If you want it, you use a calculator for that. And for every degree, for example, for BE, the calculator is allowed to have a certain function. Now, all these things are available readily. How do you use it? So therefore, if you are trying to memorize all the facts required for a course, I mean, it is absolutely not the right way of using your brain.
Very true. Sir, I'll take one more.
I think we are, diverting.
Sir, allow me, because actually, allow me, sir, one more question, sir, please. Let me read it out. Our exam, this is from Geetika, but every time she used to ask, she is a very regular attendant. Our exam focus more on the research than understanding. The child may understand the concept and may apply it as per their understanding, which may not be as per the solution referred by the examiner. How do we close this gap? Is it purely based on the evaluation pattern? Sir, can you please?
Rashmi, you give your initial reaction.
Yeah. After that, sir can.
Sir, children are learning actually for getting good marks, but they know the concept. But when exam, mostly it is MCQ. MCQ type of questions cannot judge a child's how much they have learned. It's only for entrance exams we are clearing that. But when you go for an interview, there is no MCQ. You have to apply the concept and give the answers. So there you have to know the concept, and if you know the concept only, you can construct the answer in your brain and give it out. So for exam sake, nowadays MCQ questions are asked, but only for exam they are writing. But outside when they come out, They have to know the concepts. That is a must. If they don't know nothing, they can't come up. So mugging up will not do.
Yeah.
That's
NCP
what
also
my
support this. NCP also, I mean, the new NEP, sorry, I'm sorry. NEP, there are a lot of suggestions, on conceptual learning. So naturally, when NEP is 100% implemented, the so-called evaluation system also will change for sure. It will definitely change for sure, no doubt. Jairam sir, you want to add something?
I want to add something. If you
Yes.
look at the answer given by a student 11th standard CBSE and IBDP 1 for the same question, you will find open-ended questions in IBDP 11, IBDP first. And for 11th standard CBSE, the answer pattern is designed. Now, open-ended questions using the same concepts, if you are arriving at two different destinations, it is valued in the IBDP system. Whereas in the CBSE system, there's only one route and there's a right rigorous route. So given the concepts, if you are able to find a different approach, IBDP will reward you, but it may be punished in another system. So conceptual learning involves you apply your concepts, go where the concepts lead. Whereas in the other one, the system designed, this is the direction in which you should move, and this is the destination or goal you have to reach. Whereas in IBDP, you will find the goals are different, the destinations are different, as long as you have internal consistency of your arguments. So it is the integrity of your arguments where the conceptual understanding goes. And it is not so in the other systems. That is why you will find there is a big difference between the IBDP systems and the other traditional systems.
Yeah, sir, Manjunath sir clearly made a statement. It's a slightly long. Students are reading the topics to get good marks in annual exams. After the exam, if we ask the concepts, what they learned in the previous year, they couldn't be able to answer properly. This is precisely what the problem with rote learning. It is actually cut and pasted on the exam paper. After that, they don't know. It is deleted completely. They couldn't be able to answer properly. So how do we connect this previous knowledge to upcoming years? This thing says stop rote learning. That is the answer. Stop rote learning. I think Manjunath said this will continue. Even I used to ask this, English teachers, maths teachers, who are actually, in my generation, the generation in the sense like the 90s, they came out, so we remember the maths teacher, we remember the classroom, everything, but we don't remember the first chapter, what was there in the maths in class 10. Forget about the content. Forget about the content. Do anyone remember what was the first chapter in your 10th standard English chapter? Whether it was a poem or a prose, do we remember that? We don't even remember that. So forget about the knowledge we have gained. We literally gain the knowledge for writing the exam. That is what we normally call the rote learning. This is not going to help us in our future. We remember something, but we don't remember exactly how it is going to help us or do something in the application oriented this thing. Am I right, sir? Sir?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So, looking at it, yes.
Yeah. So rote learning, we have to somehow, we are not suggesting you to, ban on it, but slowly, we have to, show them the way, how to, this is better, easier than rote learning. It is not time consuming also compared to the rote learning method. The conceptual learning is not that time consuming also. Ma'am, I think she can, help me.
Yes, sir, whatever you're telling is true. If you learn the concept, no, exam is something you are writing and clearing it off. But the concept, if you remember, wherever you go, can apply it. And there you will be standing different. Then you are able to apply that in your real a place where you are, means like working place you are applying. There you will be standing separate. People will see you in a different way. Memorizing will never help you. Memorizing will help you only in certain areas, as I told. It's a copy paste to brain of the children. The teacher's brain, it is copied and pasted in the brain of the child, and it will never go. They just like you are writing something in the paper, what is stored in your brain. You are not at all thinking what actually it is. So, but when you go out, the person you will be known only for how you came up, not by marks will be coming secondary only. Marks, what you go, the graduation, everything will be coming after your interview. Interview, when you perform well, you will be getting the job. After that only your graduation or your marks you scored in 10th and 12th will going to come. So that's what my opinion.
Great. Thank you. I think we are exceeding the time. I must say thank you to Rashmi ma'am, and definitely
Thank you, sir.
Our
Thank you,
mentor,
sir.
CEIR mentor, and her mentor, Dr. A.P. Jaraman sir. Now, I have a humble request to all, like we are not against any of this thing. It was taught to us in the past. Nobody was given us an idea about conceptual learning. Now, we realize the new generation students, the conceptual learning, understanding and the practical, way of learning things, the experiential learning. These all very important. In our time, we haven't heard of this term called child psychology or child-centric education. Nobody treated us like children. Like now, we used to get, every teacher, the best teacher who was in our time, I'm talking about. The best teacher best teacher was the one who carry a stick in his hand. And according to our parents, the teacher was very strict. He was supposed to be the best teacher according to the parents. Like now everything is upside down. People understand the child-centric education, the child psychology is getting a paramount important in the education system. We have to understand, the new generation children, they have to understand the concept. And I will add one more thing. The toppers, the top, I let me allow this, in the context of Kerala entrance examination. Like the moment the +2 results are released, within a week, the engineering and the medical entrance results also used to be published. I don't know about today's this thing. Now, the result, the rank holders of the usual school exams, nowhere there in the entrance results. Now I hope you understood what exactly the problem with rote learning. You will score mark, you will get rank. But when it comes to a logical, what you call the knowledge-based examination, like medical entrance or an engineering entrance, these poor kids are nowhere there in that. So this is what we have to understand. Marks or getting into a proper, cracking a proper, competitive exam. To crack something, you need a knowledge. To score mark, definitely you need this, that ready-made answers kind of thing. So please think about it. The world has a new face and new demand. My humble request to Jayaraman sir to say 2 words, and we will wind up this webinar. Sir, please.
No, we had a wonderful journey through the world of conceptual learning. Its basics have been explained to us, its value, and how it will help us to navigate better, faster, and swifter in a knowledge economy. So if that fundamental idea, that conceptual understanding is critical to understanding itself, I think we have solved the basics of that. We have also learned today to skeptically look at our ability to reproduce information. Reproduction of information is no longer considered as knowledge. That basics also has been solved wonderfully well in this conceptual understanding. Thanks, Rashmi, for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank you all. Thank you so
The
much.
series of questions she has asked one after the other in quick succession, making us feel uncomfortable. Do I know this? Do I know this? If I don't know this, can I do that? So that
My experience, sir. My experience.
wonderful. Yes, it was a beautiful experience in the IG car lab. Yes, for you and for us too today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very
Thank
much.
you.
Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
sir.
weekend.
Thank you,
Rashmi
sir.
ma'am,
Wish you the
Dr.
same, sir.
A.P. Jayaraman sir, all
Thank
the
you.
participants. Have a wonderful. See, it's a like we have to seriously think of. It's time to think about this kind. This what this kind of idea. Thank you very much. All the very
Yes, sir.
best. Thank you very much. One day,
Thank you,
Guru.
sir. Thank you,
One day,
Jayaraman, sir. Thank you. Thank
one day,
you.
one day, Guru. One
Okay,
day.
sir. Bye.